Clark and Reese remain two of the most popular players in the WNBA. However, it's Clark who holds the edge when it comes to viewership and attendance rating. When you say hold the edge, that makes it seem like it's a small margin. No. It's a severe lead. It is a significant gap between the two when it comes to viewership and attendance. Edge, not the best choice of words in this instant. Yet the Women's National Basketball Players Association, the union for current women's professional basketball players in the WNBA, recently decided against Clark. Shocker.
Hope to God that eventually we find out that maybe Caitlin Clark was asked to do this and maybe she said no, because if that's not the case, then the WNBA and the Players Association, the WNBA PA, and the league, to be honest, continue to disrespect the far and away biggest draw that this women's hoops league's got that they've ever seen.
A scoreboard filled with holes. Caitlin Clark wakes up every morning to the same ritual. She makes coffee. She stretches. She scrolls through the latest game notes. Then, because superstardom comes with morbid curiosities, she pulls up the WNBA's online leaderboards to see whether the league has decided to list her accomplishments today or tuck them behind a digital curtain. More often than not, the answer comes in a half-second of loading time followed by a half-mile of disappointment.
All right, so we see the stat line for Caitlin Clark. She's averaging 21.6 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, and then if we go down, she's averaging a block as well. 5 turnovers right now, 43% from the field, 36 from the three. What shooting that is. And then she's doing 72 from the free throw. Definitely want her to get that up. But we see the stats, right? We see the stats. Now, if we go to ESPN, Caitlin Clark is nowhere to be found. Caitlin Clark is nowhere to be found.
Her name is missing from another column it should dominate. Points? Gone. Assists? Invisible. 3-point makes? Expunged. But turnovers? Ah yes, turnovers. There she is, highlighted in scarlet like the network's tech intern wanted to ensure no one skipped the scarlet letter. It would be funny if it weren't so brazen. Clark, averaging 21.6 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, and a block per night, on percentages most first-year pros only fantasize about, keeps finding herself erased from the very spreadsheets that exist to track statistical truth. The new guard of fans sees it. The old guard pretends not to. The league office issues slow-boil statements about data lag that fool exactly 0 human beings who have ever refreshed a web page. The curious case of the edge. Network talking heads attempt neutral phrasing. Clark holds an edge in viewership and attendance. Edge? That word suggests the difference between two planets is a casual hop across a ditch. Reality laughs. Clark's presence turns Tuesday night into playoff ratings. Her absence drains eyeballs faster than a Netflix show dropping mid-season spoilers on Twitter. When she sits for injury management, the league drops 55% in viewership across the board, a statistical cliff so steep it should come with a safety railing and a polite sign. Mind the gap left when you intentionally undermarket your most bankable athlete.
But fam, if that is the case, why is Caitlin Clark right here at 3 points made? Why is she right here at 3 points made? If that is the case, she would be completely off of the list, right? She would be gone, wiped off, if it was all about the games. Why is she right here? Right? This looks disingenuous, man. I'm just keeping it a grain. We know who has the most assists right now. You have Paige Beckers up here. We know who has more assists, who's averaging the most assists right now. And you have Paige Beckers right here. Come on, fam. Like, I'm just saying, man. This don't look disingenuous.
But to call it an edge is like saying the Grand Canyon is a notable indentation. The scoreboard of attention is lopsided. Clark owns it. The league keeps misplacing the deed. Invisible ink at ESPN. Enter ESPN, the worldwide leader, the self-proclaimed archivist of sports truth. The network whose on-screen graphic team can summon a 7th decimal place advanced stat in the time it takes Steph Curry to adjust his mouthguard. And yet, refresh the WNBA assist leaderboard and Clark is MIA refresh threes made? Same. Only when you click turnovers does her name bloom. in bold, almost smug letters, as if the site's backend code were set to perform a petty little magic trick. Now you see her, now you don't.
Jealousy and sheer incompetence are going to be the three main reasons why the WNBA never reaches the popularity, never reaches the shine that they think they deserve. Stubbornness, incompetence, and jealousy are going to be the reasons why Caitlin Clark remains at the mountaintop and nobody else ends up even being close to joining her up there. And it's all the WNBA, the players, the executives, Kathy Engelbert. It is all their fault. They're far too jealous. They're far too stubborn. And from a business sense, they are all far too incompetent. What am I talking about?
Come on, man. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense right here, man. Angel Reese still top dogging in rebounds. And even with Jonquel missed games. She missed some games. And she's still on the list. What's going on? What's going on with this, man? Let me see who else. Boston doing a good job. She's in the top 5. Oh, tied number 4. Okay, I see you. Boston doing a good job. Steals. We got Gabby Williams. Gabby's been going crazy. Nafi, Asia. And then they got Paige Beckers on there. Fam, let me see. I'm going to click complete leaders. Let me see if they don't have Caitlin anywhere, fam.
Unless the category is unflattering. It's not a clerical error. It's a decision tree in full, Petty Blossom. Because the same pages list veterans who have played fewer games, scored fewer points, dished fewer dimes, and they float near the top of every column, smiling back at you like well-fed royalty. When the union looks the other way, even the Players' Union, the Women's National Basketball Players Association, has managed to turn basic recognition into a blood sport. When Clark's likeness was floated as the centerpiece for a marketing push, certain voting blocks reportedly balked. League's not just Caitlin, they insisted. Nobody said it was. But the numbers say she's the tide lifting every franchise yacht that had been rusting at half capacity for a decade. Yet minutes later, that same union champions rising TV deals and charter flights, as though the money poured in from a mystical fountain in New Jersey instead of a young Iowan dropping logo 3s on prime time. The great turnover mirage. And about those turnovers. 9 assists on 43% shooting from 3 might earn you flowers if your jersey nameplate says veteran superstar. But slap rookie lightning rod on the back and the discourse flattens into hot take territory. She coughs the ball up 5 times a night. Never mind that every elite facilitator in history spent year 1 throwing more live ball hand grenades than they'd care to remember. Never mind that Clark is simultaneously handling the rock on 80% of Indiana's possessions and absorbing triple teams designed by coaching staffs who'd rather surrender open corner 3s than allow her an inch of daylight.
Category and called it balance.
It's one of the craziest stats I've seen yet. And I feel like we say this all the time. Like, wow, this is one of the craziest Caitlin Clark related stats that I've seen. Evergreen. She has played 42 games. She now has the most 25-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history. 42 games, most 25 and 10 games in WNBA history. She is tied for the most 20 and 10 games in WNBA history. Courtney Vandersloot has 10. Diana Taurasi had 9. Sloot has played 430 games. Taurasi played 565 games. Again, Caitlin Clark has played 42 games. That is unbelievable.
But if Caitlin Clark's stat line is being hidden, the truth isn't. It's
the exact abuse that they're giving Caitlin Clark right now to Sabrina Ionescu. Like, let's be real, you can look. If you read what some of these things have said about Sabrina Ionescu before Caitlin Clark walked in the league, but now they have the new bully victim. And it's so funny looking at it where you're like, all these, it's so clear that these people, it's just an anti-Caitlin people, because it's like an enemy of my enemy is my friend, where it's like they are these individual pages where you look at the players they hype up, and Paige Beckers, and by the way, by all accounts, Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark are friends. They'll have their profile's Angel Reese, and the players they're going to hype up as Paige Beckers because she is a rival to Caitlin Clark. And let's be real, that's an actual rivalry. Paige Beckers is really damn good.
Context is for the credible. The turnover column is too useful as ammunition. An assist that shook the building. Against New York, her first game back from the quad strain that had sports medicine interns Googling, quads heal faster if the league cries. Clark high-picked, split a trap, and, while hanging in the air with no visible pivot foot on terra firma, rifled a one-handed laser between Brianna Stewart's outstretched arms. The pass didn't arc so much as blink into existence, landing perfectly in Aaliyah Boston's palms for a layup. The arena's vibration registered on a local seismograph. Twitter spiked to 32,000 concurrent posts in under 2 minutes. ESPN's highlight package that night? A 25-second clip, 10 of which covered a mid-range jumper by a veteran forward from the losing team. The pass appeared for 1.3 seconds, then vanished into B-roll oblivion. The data deltas, they can't hide. Here's what can't be buried. Attendance delta. Fever Road games sell at 145% of home team's season average. Merch delta. Clark jersey outsells the next 4 players combined. Rating delta. Non-Fever WNBA games, even playoff reruns on sports channels, drop by more than half without her. These windfall numbers don't care whether ESPN site admin forgot to tick a box in the SQL query. They don't care that the union's group chat passes around articles about overhype. They just deposit bigger checks. Why the erase strategy backfires. Every time a leaderboard mysteriously omits the best rookie playmaker since Sue Bird's internship year, Twitter threads light up with screenshot evidence, driving more engagement than the sanitized highlight reels ESPN hoped would steer conversation elsewhere. The silent treatment strategy is the first media blackout in history that functions like an unpaid marketing campaign.
Turn to the Indiana Fever, showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever, who looked like a completely different team, as Caitlin Clark put on a show that only she can in leading the team to a win over the New York Liberty, the first L for the Liberty on the season. Clark made those passes that are just gorgeous dimes. She hit the logo bombs, 3 of them in 38 seconds. The kind of things that just make you make incomprehensible noises, like, oh! Like you can't control it when you're watching it because
to listen to what one Colin Cowherd had to say on Sunday after that special Saturday night performance. Let's take a look.
Can we talk about the simmering cauldron that is women's basketball right now? No, not the Indiana Fever. I'm talking about the cauldron of executives in the WNBA. Since Caitlin Clark got injured, WNBA ratings have dropped 55%. That's not just the Fever's ratings. It's not just a local dip. That's league-wide. Now, to the suits in the league office, that may be a little eye-opening, but for the rest of us, nah, not really. We're in an attention economy, and Caitlin Clark is the currency. No American athlete right now, male or female, drives clicks, views, or conversation like she does. She's the rising tide.
They hide her. Fans hunt. They bury the pass. YouTubers upload 12-minute compilation. They downplay the show. Ticket buyers crash resale sites. Jealousy, stubbornness, incompetence. You said it, and the Trinity fits. Jealousy from stakeholders who'd rather share the spotlight than watch it orbit one sun. Stubbornness of institutions slow to pivot, clinging to an old hierarchy that never delivered these numbers. Incompetence at reading the room and the raw data that screams, give the people what they're already paying for. The consequence of the ghost campaign. What happens if the league keeps playing small? We get Monday morning Nielsen reports that look like roller coaster plunges whenever number 22 is taped to the bench. We get sponsors asking, why are we investing if the star who prints money is digitally muzzled? We get rival pro leagues, international or domestic, whispering loaded phrases like revenue share and player-first branding, hoping Clark's camp notices. Because fandom travels. If parallels to early career LeBron feel hyperbolic, just look at the graphs. And yes, those graphs ESPN apparently forgot how to generate. The theater of the angry clerk. There's unintentional comedy, too, in how transparent the omission feels. It's that dinner party where the host clearly dislikes one guest, keeps skipping them when pouring wine, and pretends the bottle was empty, only to refill other glasses seconds later.
You need to sit here and be honest. No casual fan knows who any of these players are except for maybe Angel Reese. That is pure honesty. No casual fan knows who any of these players are except for Angel Reese. WNBA old guard fans, they know who these ladies are. People who follow the league, they know who these players are. People who are responsible for the increase in viewership, who are responsible for the increase in attendance, they don't know who any of these players are except for Angel Reese and potentially Cameron Brink. Let's be honest here. Except for Angel Reese and potentially Cameron Brink. Paige Beckers, stop. Kelsey Plum, stop. Nafisa Collier, cut it out. Nafisa Collier, great player.
Everyone sees it. Everyone cringes. The target sips water and stays gracious, knowing empathy in the crowd accrues interest faster than any Cabernet. Closing the blinds versus opening the curtains. Eventually, the league must decide. Is it safer to hide behind thin blinds that everyone can peek through, or to fling open those curtains, flood the room with daylight, and admit the obvious? That their house is suddenly bigger, brighter, more valuable, almost entirely because one generational talent moved in and started redecorating with logo 3s and no-look lasers. Numbers don't lie, no matter how skillfully leaders try to bend them into narrative origami. Stats suppressed on page A resurface on TikTok page B, SportsCenter page C, and ticket sales report D. The inevitable reckoning. A day will come, perhaps sooner than ESPN's content strategy calendar accounts for, when ignoring Clark's stat lines will feel as absurd as ignoring gravity in a physics lecture. The league will either wave a white flag and update every leaderboard in bold, or watch fans follow the data themselves to whichever platform decides counting properly is good business. The world's biggest media entities can stall, but they can't reverse the scoreboard on the jumbotron of public opinion. The numbers keep flipping. The LED bulbs keep glowing. Every time Caitlyn splits a hedge trap and sprays a court dime, she lights them brighter. Numbers find the light, even if ESPN accidentally forgets to turn it on.
The myth conjured by Nike in Indiana.
All right, so we've talked WNBA, we've talked Angel Reese, we've talked all the things that are going on. There's been this back and forth from all the WNBA players that the league is not just Caitlin Clark. So Caitlin Clark has been injured, so she hasn't been playing. Since Caitlin Clark went down, the WNBA ratings have dropped over 55%.
They're invisible.
NBA is trying to peg some young guys as face of the league. They had Ant and SGA play in the Western Conference Finals, and it had the low. They're trying. You say, well, the markets are small. Well, for the Indiana Fever, what does that matter? This goes to show that markets do not matter. That's all nonsense. SGA, if LeBron James, when LeBron James was in Cleveland, we never said, well, in Cleveland, stars transcend state lines. Right now, she's the biggest basketball star in the world, not named LeBron and Steph.
It's painfully transparent. They'll show you clips of the